welcome to the video today. So we're gonna get right into it. We're laying down the water and applying the wash. So for this piece, I don't know if you can tell right away, but it is a Halloween piece. A couple months early, but whatever. Who cares? I love Halloween. So what you want to do for any kind of night sky, I usually say don't just paint it black. Get some nice washes in there. You can have like kind of more ethereal, mysterious kind of sky with, you know, right now we're putting in a bit of black as well. And that black and that dark blue really mix nicely together and create those nice washes that allow you to have more of a textured sky, especially at night, because like the automatic go-to is like just fill it in black. But you can do a lot of stuff with a nighttime sky. If you look at like Charlie Brown, the Halloween Charlie Brown episodes, for example, and you look at the skies in that, they're all, I think they are watercolor. I'm not 100%. This is actually gouache, which is a more opaque watercolor, or it's similar to watercolor, but it's more opaque, but you can get the washes with it. So you can do more of an acrylic look with it. You can do a bit more of a watercolor look with it like we have here. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult to see in this video, but I'm actually applying a thin sort of grass line with this darker grass that is in there. And we're putting down our base color for the sidewalk as well. Starting to add in a bit of shadow because the light's being cast from behind the figures. The shadow's going to be cast in front of them. And for the ghost, because the ghost is supposed to be kind of hovering next to the kids, I thought it would be better to just not give the ghost a shadow to kind of make it different from the other figures. The figures that are humans versus the one that's a spirit won't cast a shadow, but there is still that little shadow underneath just to give it the illusion of it having sort of some physical presence and floating above that. Anytime that you have like a leg or anything that's up in the air, always put a shadow underneath it, but if they're not touching, if the shadow and the figure aren't touching, then it shows that it's like levitating above that space. Adding in a little bit of highlights into the grass. So now we've got our flat for the alien costume. Adding in a little bit of shadow. And just starting on the ghost a little bit, touching up little areas that still need to be filled in black. You can go over the black again later once you've done all the color, just to make sure that you haven't lost any of those shapes. Doing a flat for the box of the sort of cardboard robot costume, and make sure that there's sort of a line. If you're gonna do like a backlight, especially like a white light, give it like a sharp line along the edge that's facing towards the light, like in this section here, just to give it that element of the backlighting. And there's also the idea for that I had was that there would be the backlighting from the moon, and then there would be sort of yellow light from street lamps, because you know they're out trick-or-treating on Halloween. And the problem with using yellow as a highlight is that yellow is a color and not a light, like a highlight. So if you're gonna do something with yellow as a highlight, just make sure to mix a lot of white into it in order to give it that look of it being a light shining on the figure. And this is just a close-up to show as much as possible how I do skin tones. So a little bit of shadow because his head's tucked inside of the box, but then it's lighter towards his chin where the light's being cast on it from the front. Just finishing up little details on the figure. And this is just a close-up to sort of show like these sort of more spherical objects of the trick-or-treat bag. Make sure you have those white edges for the back light. And this is tricky because you want the pumpkin, like I wanted the pumpkin to glow from the inside as well. So I made it very dark around the face so you could really see that yellow pop inside of the pumpkin there. And I go back and I touch up things as I go. Once you finish in an area, you don't have to just completely be done with it. Always look back and think, you know, how much do I need to put in more highlights? Can I put in a bit more darker shadow? So there you can see in the pants I added a little bit darker of a green. And the ghost I had a little bit of trouble with. At first I wanted the ghost to be kind of semi see-through. And then I decided I didn't want to do that because it didn't quite look right to me. It didn't really make sense visually. So now I'm just kind of making the ghost like have a little bit of a highlight towards the lower front so that you can see that like forward light shining on him or her. Doing our flat for the pumpkin, and when I say flat, the flat is the color that's the mid-tone, so it's not the shadow and it's not the highlight. The flat is just the starting color. I like to work from the flat. I don't know about other artists if they like to work from a shadow and work their way into the lighter color, but I've always found that working starting from a flat and then adding your highlights or adding your shadow makes more sense for me just as a visual person, because then I can think, what is my shadow? It's going to be a brown. What is my highlight? It's going to be more of a yellow. And for something like the pumpkin and for the green alien, the yellow works actually quite well as a highlight. These sort of weird rules of art. The highlight of the yellow in the pumpkin and the green alien works because they're sort of yellow based already. Especially like even the green actually has kind of a yellow mixed into it. It's a warmer green, if that makes sense. There's less blue and there's more yellow. So when you do put in yellow into, or when you use yellow as a highlight on green or orange, it kind of makes sense visually because they've already got those orange elements in them. So you can see I'm adding the orange to the green alien now, and I'm just tightening up those the shadows as well. You can make those shadows really high contrast in a piece like this. You can even see it in the pants, the dark blue, as like, and you can mix blue in with the green as well, because again, yellow and blue makes green, so you can add those elements or add those colors to the green to kind of punch up, you know, make the green a little bit darker or more saturated with some blue, or highlight it, brighten it up with the yellow. And that applies to the little satchel that she's holding as well. And you can always throw some white in there too, just to bring up the highlights. And I added a bit of a blue along the edge of the highlight towards the left of each figure, because I thought the blue, not just bringing the sky into the rest of the painting, because you want to bring those colors all around the painting. You don't want them too separated from each other. But bringing that blue down into the figures just along the edge of the highlight. If you look at like natural lighting, you can actually see like a little bit of that darker blue cast from the back, or from a blue white light. So it's sort of like the blue sky is being cast onto the figures, and then the white highlights being cast on as well. And I'm just going in and I'm just darkening up everything. You can see on the satchel that the boy's holding towards the left that I added an extra dark line just to really set off the contrast of that backlight. And just touching up the ground. Just making those shadows a bit stronger. And also you want to get a bit of that yellow highlight if you're going to cast it from the front of the figures or whatever angle. You want to make sure you get that into the ground as well. And again, just sharpening up, making it a bit darker. Adding a bit more blue. And the best part, which is always doing the outline, because it really brings the piece together, I find, putting in that nice black outline. You can, like I said in my last video, you can do colored outlines. If you don't like outlines, you don't feel like you have to, but I personally really like it because I like that cartoony style. And I like that it can, like, if a shape or a figure is not looking as defined as you want it to be, you could spend hours making it way more defined looking, or in a few seconds you can just put an outline on it and it looks great. But it's more of a stylistic choice than just, you don't want to rely too heavily on your black outlines being your being the way to get that defined shape to your figures. Just doing little touch-ups, adding a bit more of the strong highlight of the background light. And there's my piece. Gonna add my little narrative part. Thanks for watching my video today. If you like this painting, you can buy a print of it in my shop. The link is in the description below. Let me know if you want to see something for me to paint. I do mostly children's illustrations. I do paintings of pets, kind of cartoony stuff like that. And if you like this video, and if you want to see more, subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.